down, and it's so difficult. The globe, the refineries closed down, but failed to state that under his PNM since September 2015, they did not manage, they did not invest. They stopped the on-land oil production. Oil production went down below 40,000 barrels under the PNM, which was an accelerated decline, not a natural God-given decline. The PNM does damage God and all. They're so incompetent. This PNM Minister of Energy stands there and tells us about 1972, when PNM had a good idea to come with gas. That's good. But he probably born in 1972, so it had nothing to do with he. What we are talking about under his realm is 2017 gas price negotiation. NGC makes a loss for the first time in history. Wow. Point Lisas moves from 78% occupancy down to 28%. 11 companies shutter and go. Steel gone. Everything gone. Right now, jobs in the oil sector. 2015 under Kamla Persad-Bissessar and Kevin Ramnarine, 20,500 jobs in the energy sector annually. Under that minister who just run out of here, 10,400. He is half the man of Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
For the border. Ministers are to be referred by their proper name or title of office.
Okay, so the point of order raised is the sentiment that we do refer to individuals by their proper title, so it would be the acting Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition.
The acting Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the just come PNM member from 2014, and oil production under that Minister of Energy, 78,000 barrels under Kevin Ramnarine and the United National Congress. Under this minister now, 53,000. He came here to say about 53,000 to 55,000. He added on a 2,000 to try and sound good, but it's still failure. It's failure on top of failure. When you talk about gas, and we're a gas economy, we are at 2.6 BCF per day, down from under the United National Congress of 3.8. Wow. Yet that minister, the acting Prime Minister, comes here with arrogance. I have never seen a failure be so arrogant, so confident. It's amazing. I think in the Balize House, somehow they do some operation when they join there. They take out two things, shame and conscience. Yeah. He said that they closed down the refinery. If all that he told us, he regaled us of, was true, how come no other expert other than the PNM cabinet said shut down the refinery? If all he said was so true and so created such a terrible situation that Trinidad and Tobago was in such dire circumstance, how come an expert like Lashley, McKinsey, Solomon, $64 million paid to experts, not a lawyer who just reach here and jump into energy to go and read a book and tell us about 100 years of oil. It's not. It's 116 years because we first did it in 1908. I read the same book. But understand this, even the Petrotrin board under Winfred Espine, under oath in the Labour Court, said they never told that PNM cabinet to shut down Petrotrin. So how come the only experts who know it had to shut down are not experts, have no qualification in chemical engineering, oil, and no experience? But you come here to tell us a whole pathological book of untruths. Exactly. Yes. Energy sector, rig days. I mean, I'm going to move off from him because I didn't even plan to discuss the Honorable Acting Prime Minister. Rig days. Under Kamla, rig days is work, money.
Leader of the opposition or member of Safaria?
The bad talker so much has come out, you understand? But we know who we're talking about. Under the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, 2,849 rig days back in 2014, 2015, down to 1,227. But in PNM maths, they might think that 1,227 is more than 2,849 because I hear that these PNM ministers did not even take or pass O-level maths. What? Yes, the leader of government business in the parliament made a speech and had boasted that she had failed mathematics, and she said she said, the member of parliament for Ruka Maloney, she said in a recent speech that not only did she fail, she did not even take O-level maths. So I want to know how the maths not mathsing. I thought, and when I did maths, I had to take it in order, yes, with 7 ones and a B and a 2, I had to take my maths. And I know to move forward, you had to have maths. So how come a minister and leader of government business, that why know how say bill? Because she can't add. So I don't know what is going on with this PNM. They will have to answer. The Honorable Minister forgot to tell us that all that debt burden is his former client, Malcolm Jones. And if he's so concerned about taxpayers' money, why did he take Malcolm Jones out of court as soon as they swore in on the Bible to be the government? Yes. The UNC government had Malcolm Jones, who was an executive chairman, which meant that he had power of a CEO to make decisions, and he took taxpayers' money and put us in debt of $13 billion. That's the debt that killed Petrotrin, yes. PNM debt. Yes. But he stands up there and doesn't mention his client's name, talking about he is here to protect the taxpayers. He protect Malcolm Jones, he take him out of court.
Yes, that's what he did.
Then the Honorable Acting Prime Minister had the audacity to talk about the OWTU and their partners being of low character. I leave that alone. But when we see this PNM government and that Minister of Energy, every negotiation, every business deal they do has to do, look, they try to run from Jindal. The only reason I know about Jindal is that Jindal reaching the diplomatic center, shaking the Honorable Prime Minister's hand. That's what I first see Jindal. And then they said that he was coming to put in some bid for the refinery, even though bids closed about 4 weeks before, you know. The Honorable Minister of Tourism didn't even know that the government that he's part of requested proposals and put out a bid, and 9 companies had put in. Yesterday he said that there was no RFP and they would just come and tell me if you're interested. There was a committee, evaluation committee, request for proposals. 9 companies came in. It was being evaluated. Then we see Jindal show up. Now they want to distance themselves from Jindal. But Jindal went in the diplomatic center, just like Astrobal Chavez, Wilmer Ruperti, Delcy Rodriguez, when citizens could not come home to their land to bury the dead. The Hindus could not do open fire cremation. You have to ask that very honorable acting Prime Minister if you could come home, please. And he would say no unless he's a PNM. You all think we forget? We don't forget, the people remember. Yeah. But somehow Delcy Rodriguez sanctioned jet landed, and that same minister said, I don't drill down. Is the permanent secretary approved? No, only the Minister of National Security could approve during a pandemic with it, and it was him. And it was Delcy Rodriguez, PDVSA officials, and they walked into, during COVID, into the diplomatic center. No test. They could have had Delta, Brazilian variant. They walked straight up to the Prime Minister, putting his life in risk because, you know, he has contracted COVID plenty, about 6 times. They didn't check, and they went straight in the diplomatic center. That's that minister who comes here to pretend like he care about Trinidad and Tobago. He talking about $6 billion, miss. Well, if you want to make back that, take back the money that his brother's company, NCB Global, got work from this PNM. Take back that $6 billion. He talk about patriotic and the character. Imagine these fellas talking about character of people. When they do business with Maduro, July 28th, we ain't see a vote yet, but he say he win. All the election, all the information showing he lost by 60% to 40%. But they're doing business with Maduro. Maduro indicted. Delcy Rodriguez indicted. Narco-terrorists wanted 15 million bounty. But they're talking about character of other individuals. They wanted to sell the refinery to some company called Quanten. It's the very Senator Mark who tried to save the country because Quanten had a little office in a house in California and could not be found. Then they come in here now to say, well, that fell down. They couldn't find the financing. Where they find Quantum? They find Quantum the same place that they find the acting Prime Minister. They have Jindal, Oana. We actually have pictures with that Minister of Energy and Acting Prime Minister shaking the hand of one Telechea. You know what Telechea is? Telechea now get locked up by Maduro. This minister is putting our future, and this PNM government saying that we have gas coming in 2028. They are saying it when they are signing our lives and our children's lives away on the character of an individual that Konoko Phillips, for example, has Maduro, Delcy Rodriguez, and PDVSA in court for $700 million US for the same dragon because they breach agreements. How can you feel trust and have trust in a man who say he win the election when he lost, and when millions of people protest, he say he win, and if you say that he didn't win and you would like to see some results, he pelt you out the country. That's who they are negotiating with, they are talking to, they are traveling back and forth. They don't care character, they don't care about democracy, they don't care about propriety, and you come here to tell us about character when you are putting our nation's future in the hands of a dictator who could change his mind at any time. Telechea was just the Minister of Energy who shook that Minister of Energy hand. Now he lock up from the same Maduro. Take care one of these days, our Minister of Energy go there and they lock you up too. Talking about
point of order 46-4.
No, no. Members, I am on my legs. Okay, so, Senator, just be careful and temper. Continue.
Mr. President, I want the minister, I want the acting prime minister to be careful, because when flying over to a dictator who steals the election, who does not give a correct statement of poll, who is locking up opposition, who put his wife cousin in the Supreme Court, I am worried that our Minister of Energy goes over there and next thing we can't see him, can't find him. So I don't know why. Maybe the PNM is so divided that the Honorable Minister of Trade would like him to go and stay over there because it's Harbor Canal. Nine years, the 10th budget of this beleaguered Minister of Finance. Practice normally makes perfect. Some coaches say practice hard. Practice makes perfect. But real coaches will know that practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice only makes permanent. And in the case of this Minister of Finance, 10 budget, still failing. He is a perfect failure. I'll deal with the Honorable Minister in the Ministry of Works and Transport. Looking very good in his kurta. Shub Diwali. Yes. Correct. Now, Honorable Minister, after 9 years, through you, Mr. President, I couldn't believe that the Honorable Minister, who's very intelligent, good businessman, done very well, that he would stand up in this Senate on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and state that there is, coming in a few months, a National Operation Center for bus. And this National Operation Center would tell us when the bus running late, and they would see it, and if there's a line for tickets and it's too long, and it ain't reached yet, 9 years, it ain't reached yet, but it's coming. Well, I want to ask the Honorable Minister if that NOC Center could tell me when grass growing in the bus, when the rain falling in the bus, when all the bus that they have breaking down and have no gas in it, if that would tell to help the poor people utilize the bus system, because at this point in time, it is the worst run PTSC in the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Careful. Careful what you say there. Mic on it. Careful.
Cashless society. I once told a certain minister at that time, I will leave him nameless, Honorable President, because I know that the bacchanal going on now, if you only talk something, you talk the truth, you're liable to get pelt out. You could ask Nicole Oliveri, you could ask Robert LaHunt, you could ask plenty of the PNM. So I will not call my Tobagonian minister name at all because he's an honest, good gentleman. He's trying his best, no resources. He had no recusals from the cabinet, so it's hard for him to operate. But he talked the truth. He agreed with the honorable leader of the opposition that a cashless society makes no sense, that you have to go hybrid. You must go hybrid. You could go some that way and come with it, but cash is very important, and he was very honest and truthful. But let me just tell him, because he tried to twist out of it and tried to suggest that the Honorable Minister of Finance agreed with him about hybrid. Well, let me quote from the Honorable Minister of Finance, Tuesday, 20th August, Newsday, Gregory McBurney article. Speaking at the launch of the National Financial Inclusion Report at Tower D, the Honorable Minister of Finance said, he noted, on a recent trip to Denmark, all transactions are done online or physically with credit card and debit cards or mobile wallets. There is a collaborative move among government ministries to push a transition to a cashless society. Now, for maybe some ministers in the PNM didn't pass English either. Cashless don't mean piece of cash, half a cash. Cashless mean none, okay? And then if you want a little backup, Prime Minister, the Honorable Member for Diego Martin West said on November 10th, 2023, I look forward to Trinidad and Tobago moving towards being a cashless society. A cashless society will have a tremendous effect on this country. The Honorable Kamala Prasad, Bisesa, leader of the opposition, said no to this cashless society. There will be a hybrid because cash helps poor people. There are over 150,000 citizens now who do not have bank accounts. How are they going cashless? To get a bank account in Trinidad and Tobago under this PNM, you can't get no US, you know. If you had to go holiday, they get 200 US. The last time I checked, if you want a nice 16-ounce T-bone steak with soup and thing, it costs 200 US outside there, right? If you're going away where the Minister of Tourism tell us go. He tell us, the Honorable Minister of Tourism told us here, and I looked down at him in shock. I even tried to signal him to stop. Don't embarrass yourself. There's a leadership vacuum in the PNM now. You might be looking to come through. Don't do that. You know the Honorable Minister of Tourism said to us that people who travel outside, them know how sweet Trinidad is. Well, let me tell you something, sir. The 29.6% of the people living below the poverty line, living on less than 1,100 TT a month, them can't travel outside. Them can't even travel from Matla to Port of Spain to collect a food card or fill out a form. The people in Trinidad and Tobago who want to reach the meeting on time have to leave 3 hours early because it's only traffic and torture. So they can't reach the airport to go nowhere. So this kind of out-of-touch, elitist kind of thinking is what has us in this problem. Imagine you have only 6% or 8% of the population is lucky to be traveling. Well, unless it's a PNM minister, you could travel as a prime minister 400 days and not do your work, but leave the place in a total mess and shambles. So, Honorable Minister of Tourism, with all due respect, maybe you have spent too much time outside, but the Douglas here, I walk around as a senator, opposition senator, the Douglas, as Anil, coach, and I talk to people every day, double stand, pharmacy, grocery, anywhere. And the pain and suffering that people are feeling. You might only talk to the people in business class on your travels to Denmark or London, I don't know. But the pain out there is real. The Forex crisis is real. The fear because of the crime scourge is real. The fear of the children getting beaten and bullied in school is real. Even if they go to school, they're bound to fail. Half the children fail maths, but to children, relax, eh? Because if you fail maths, it's okay. You could be the leader of government business in the PNM. You don't even have to take maths. According to the PNM, you could reach. Now, to the media, I would like to know how that happened. I want to know. My child going to take SCA next 16 months, so I want to know how much should I really stress on the maths? Or don't bother. Just don't bother to take it. The Honorable Senator vice president, I don't know what to call my honorable colleague, whether vice president or the next candidate for Samoa Bartari to get licks. I don't know, but I will say the honorable vice president for now, right? He said, your PNF, our beloved country, is not in a he's trying to give us a new definition of recession. 3 years of growth. So a recession could, in a simple terms, 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth equals a recession. In Trinidad and Tobago, we don't get results. 2 to 3 years, not quarters, but yesterday I said years. You are correct though, in a way, because we in that, but it's not a recession. The PNM has put us in a depression, and the place is in a total mess. I was happy that the boys from Shiva Boys had left by the time you contributed, or else they would be failing their exams like your leader of the government business. The Honorable Vice President also said, Heritage and Stabilization Fund, that when the United National Congress was there, that a lot of money was put aside in the state, but we had to do it because of the formula. Well, honorable member, the formula states that any amount 10% over and above the budgeted or pegged price, you then automatically goes into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. So when you have a responsible government that creates buffers, so when you predict or you check all your predictions on possible price for oil or MMBTU, you leave a buffer because you're not greedy. So if you, for example, when the People's Partnership was there, oil was predicted to go up to $105 a barrel and so on. But we did not want to just take all the money and spend it. So the Honorable Minister of Finance budgeted at $73 per barrel and at $6 or $7 per MMBTU when it was predicted to go up to 11. But your Honorable Minister of Finance, he don't want nothing to go in savings. So when he sees that the price of oil might be $92 a barrel, he come and read our budget for $92 a barrel. When he see $2.75 per MMBTU, he come and budget at $2.75 per MMBTU to leave no room for any savings. That is the difference between the PNM and a responsible UNC government. The Honorable Minister of Tourism called Cricket World Cup a success. Brilliant success, he said. Chaos, park and ride. One match they had to do, one match. Children, mothers, grandmothers had to walk for 4 hours to get out. They couldn't move, gridlock. Then on top of that, the next match as a semi-final, the whole world said the pitch was unacceptable. The PNM has embarrassed Trinidad and Tobago. They're coming here to say they're proud of that. Well, I say shame on you. On top of that, I didn't see none of them in the games. Remember before I said they went and get some games that nobody want to see, and the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and CARICOM say, I bad talking Uganda and Papua New Guinea, and I'm like, no, it's sport. People want to see the best. People pay money to see the best. The ticket for Papua New Guinea versus Uganda was $6. The West Indies versus New Zealand was $60 US. But they want to give us that. It was a total failure. Furthermore, the people who had to walk for 3-4 hours down in Brian Lara, when I said that it's Zapate mud and nothing wrong to spend any money, and it would have been better to have the games in the Oval because you have corn soup, music, drinks, restaurant, everything around the avenue that you could generate some money, crowd come out and they start to spend money. When I told them that, they said, no, I don't like South. I love South and Tobago, and I commend Tobago too. When I said that, they didn't want to listen. People had to walk 3 hours and couldn't even buy a water. They couldn't get a little chicken, a doubles, a roti, not a shop, nowhere. They just had to watch out to not get bounced down on the highway from the other side when they cross in. The Honorable Minister of Tourism is an affable chap, Unless you're poor and you need a HDC home, then he does get vexed. He said, and it's very interesting, he said these travel advisories, that, the travel advisories, every country puts out one. Now, this struck me as very strange, but then it showed me the DNA of the PNM and gives me insight into why the country has dropped into a chasm of anarchy. The honorable minister, and remember I say he's an affable chap, intelligent fellow. That's why they spit him out and he ain't get San Fernando East, because they don't like brain in the PNM. He passed the exam.
Yeah. Good for that. Yeah.
Yes. He said, these travel advisories, what happens in other countries? The opposition and the government get together to fight the travel advisory, to go and argue with the ambassador and get them to change it. I thought that was rather strange. So rather than fix the problem that is existing in your country that will make someone write an advisory on you from an impartial point of view, rather than solve the problem, you want to go and bully the people to change it. And that is PNM.
Yes.
And the honorable minister said that. The honorable minister said that when in the last 3 days before he spoke, 2 police officers had been murdered by miscreant bandits, just shot and killed. And another policewoman who just came back from representing Trinidad and Tobago with pan and music as she landed. And she probably thought outside was sweet, as she was away, she had to know how sweet Trinidad and Tobago is. But she was outside, alive, but when she landed, she dead. Or was shot. She's fighting for her life, yes. But brain damage, and we pray for her. But I'm saying to this minister, you are in charge. Stop mamagaing people. People are living out there in fear. A beautiful policewoman, police officer, brilliant, talented person, young, shot, just like that. And rather than fix that, rather than put some policies, rather than bring a budget of resources to fight the crime scourge, rather than pump money into education to lift the mathematics level, the pan in schools to sport, increase the NPI vote for sport, increase gate, increase opportunities, put army and police in schools in the hotspot areas, make sure that teachers are paid more than 4%. They come to tell me, they go in and argue with our ambassador to tell them take down the advisory. That is wrong. But that is PNM, and PNM is wrong. I wouldn't even go. He talk about the cost of living. They talk about $2 and boast. They not living in Trinidad and Tobago. $100 in 2015. You go in the grocery now, it's valued $69. You go in the grocery, they're cutting cheese in 1/3 blocks. They have milk for babies on lock and key. I thought it was in a nice container in Massey stores. I thought, when you buy that milk, you go get a little thing to put some pasta or some chana or something in. You know that was a security device because poor mothers have to be stealing milk for the children in Trinidad and Tobago. It's so sweet. That Honorable Minister of Energy said the same thing that the Minister of Tourism said. But he said it 2 years ago on Quest. Me, I know how much they pay to reach on Quest on CNN. But he said, we living good. Well, yes, them living good because them had 60 recusals. Their brother getting contract, father in IFC 15 million, boasting about Scotiabank, not telling us that his father was the head of Scotiabank, Trinidad and Tobago for the last 45 years. But speaking about it like this is some independence. The people are fed up of this PNM. And then, I normally, the convention is that you come, you make your debut speech, your maiden speech, and you come and try to impress with intellect and so on. But a senator from Tobago came in this August house, this chamber, and he just went off, regurgitating untruths from the platform, adding nothing to debate, criticizing fellow Tobagonians. I never see a Tobagonian come in the Senate to attack other Tobagonians, talking about, I'll get to him just now, but since you opened me about, I'll go back to the Minister of Tourism. And let me tell, and to the nation.
You might touch again.
Yeah, let me see, we're on this camera here? Right. Because I'm talking to the nation, not to the PNM. It is unbelievable and remarkable that no matter how much facts, how much research, how much paper, how much information that you give the PNM, they continue their pathological untruths unfettered. They came here, the Minister of Tourism and the new senator that replaced another senator, and they said that the opposition removed an investment from Tobago. Sandals investment was coming, and the opposition was so unpatriotic. The investment. Sandals was not investing $1 in this country. The PNM government was going to borrow $7 billion for taxpayers to pay back. At the time when I researched, there were 13,645 hotels under construction in the globe. And I researched and I looked and I checked to see how many were being built with taxpayers' dollars. You know what the answer was? 0. But they talk about investment and they say that they moved from the Sandals investment, jumped from Tobago to St. Vincent. Sandals spend their own money in Grenada, 2 hotels, 150 million approximately US each. Barbados 2, St. Lucia 3, Antigua 2, Bahamas, Jamaica, Dominican Republic. Sandals spend their own money because it's an investment. In Tobago, the PNM was going to take taxpayers' money, borrow money at 6.2%, $7 billion to build a hotel. When I calculated if the hotels, the beaches, and the Sandals were total 100% occupancy for a year, we would have broken even in 99 years. If you were occupied 100%, so you had no lull, you ain't dipped to 60, you ain't dipped to 40, you understand? In 99 years, the people of Trinidad and Tobago would have broken even. They come to say, but we would have get some job to put on glove and hand out glass. Could I get you a drink, sir? We passed that. We in oil and gas since 1908, since 1972, right? So please, PNM, stop telling untruths. Sandals was not spending 1 red cent. If they were spending, I'd be the first one. I would have go and book a room there in Sandals and all and go. Not in the other one that gone down. But the Honorable Senator spoke about double palm. I ain't know how he know about that reach Tobago. But then again, when he reached home, all he clothes was in a garbage bag. So maybe it was from double.
Senator, again. Don't, no. Please, continue.
Honorable Senator from Tobago came and said here that the UNC did nothing for Tobago and built nothing.
You have 5 more minutes, Senator.
Fast. He said, excuse me, please, don't disturb me, sir.
Go back on him again.
Yes. No, enough of him. Just like the PNM has had enough of him in Sando East and elsewhere, I've had enough of him. The Honorable Senator from Tobago, on top of attacking Tobagonians, he came to say that the UNC does not respect Tobago and did nothing except build a meteorological building and so on, and then a pumpkin house. That's what he said in the Senate. Well, let me just remind him of somebody. Off the top of my head, I didn't go and call and research and thing, but the gas station on the other side of the island is UNC built that, right? The MIC Center, the Roxborough gas station, the Dwight York Stadium track, which was certified 1A, which means world record could be broken there, was put down at 10.3 million by this minister's sport. This minister's sport also approved and got from the Ministry of Finance $120 million to do over and refurbish and renovate the Dwight York Stadium because the guts of it, because of the sea blast, the infrastructure, the metal, the electrical, the plumbing needed to be redone. But that member from Tobago say when they reach, they had no money in the treasury. But his prime minister is on tape, go and check social media, talking about graphs and pointing at this and saying in 2014, you see this big tall red line? That's cash in bank. Yes, that Kamala Cash, the member for Siparia and leader of the opposition, cash in bank 2014. Reserves 11.4 billion US, 7.6. 6.8 billion US in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. 14 months of import cover. They come and dip in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund and boast now it reached back above 6 billion. 9 years later, had you managed the economy properly, the Heritage and Stabilization Fund was growing at an average of 1.2 to 1.8 billion per year. 9 by 1.2, it should have gone up by at least 10 billion US. They use it out, they spend it out, and then they don't want to account for it here. They want to argue with the Auditor General to change her mind, like the travel advisory. We also had the renovation, right? Dwight York Stadium. WASA did 5 pumping stations in Tobago during that time. The UE campus was due to come to Tobago, so Tobagonian children don't have to come down here to study. We also finished the Scarborough Hospital. We couldn't find the material that went by land date, but we had to buy new material and finish the Scarborough Hospital. So that member of Tobago to come here. The sea bridge was flowing perfectly. The vessels purchased by the Honorable Patrick Manning, the Express and the Spirit, and maintained by the Canadian company, were maintained by the Honorable Member for Siparia. On top of that, she got the Superfast Galicia that was making it to Tobago in 2 hours and 25 minutes. Them collapsed the sea bridge. They put the Tobagonian thing on barge for salt water to go all in the engine and on the banana and so on. And then come to tell us that UNC disrespect Tobago. They also say that PNM is a national party and UNC don't even want to go in Tobago. Let me tell you something. The PNM cannot even understand, respect, self-governance, understanding that what the UNC and the leader for the member for Siparia believes is that Tobagonians must see about Tobago. Yes. Therefore, not only did she bring the self-governance bill, and the PNM didn't vote with it. The member for Dago Martin West is on Hansard as quoting exact verbatim from an article written by another noble Tobagonian, word for word without giving credit. So when they talk about respect, we respect Tobago more than the PNM. The PNM feels that they must rule Tobago from Trinidad, from Balize House there. But one thing I learned about Senator, the Honorable Ansel Dennis, I learned 3 things yesterday when listening to him. One,
wasn't much to learn.
Huh? It wasn't much to learn, but listen carefully. The 3 things about the new replacement senator. 1, somehow I now understand how he managed to lose a fixed election. 2, I now realize that former Senator Laurel Lizama Leasing wasn't that bad. And 3, while he criticizes the Tobagonian Ashwood Jack about some pumpkin house, whether pumpkin house, Baji house, or cassava house, Ashwood Jack never reach home and see clothes in a garbage bag outside.
Senator, one of caution, Senator Roberts, members, I have cautioned Senator Roberts on going down that line. You have a few seconds left in terms of your time. Yes, it's 11:30. Your 5-minute warning was at 11:25. I'll allow you to just wrap it up.
Wrap it up like a roti. So let me just say that I will leave the Honorable Senator Nanlal for another time, okay? But I would say that PNM, they're magicians. Everything goes poof. They borrow $147 billion, poof, it gone. The treasury empty, poof. The refinery, poof, it gone. Beautiful, brilliant magicians. But the PNM is a classic catfish for the young people who now understand. Because if they watch, the PNM is Simran from Sweet Bobby on Netflix. If you know, you know. God bless. Thank you, Mr. President.